Feels good, doesn't it? The Maple Leafs seal the deal with this victory. It's a it's a real nice victory. It's a statement. The Toronto Maple Leafs responded to some adversity they faced after facing their first losing streak of the season and coming off of a blown 5-1 lead against Ottawa Senators. That was an embarrassment the other night. Maple Leafs responded well with a 2-1 victory, and Jumbo Joe Thornton had 2 goals that were called back. So it could have been 4-1, but it was 2-1. We have a bunch of comments coming in. You all know what this show's about. Leave your thoughts, comments, questions, concerns, whatever in the comment section throughout the show. I will get to them as much as I can. Mike says that was a good game. Great game. We got revenge back at them. It was nice. It was nice to see that. What a game from Austin Matthews. Huge goal. Huge goal from Austin Matthews. Big dubs. Big dubs. That's right, Joseph Clark. This was a big dub we saw tonight. It was more of a moral victory. It was a win that we should have expected to win. We should expect to win this game. But really, this is just about how the Maple Leafs responded to losing two straight games and blowing a 5-1 lead, and I'd love to see how they responded to adversity. There's a lot of standout players tonight. We'll get to all of this, but we got to start off with this guy, Austin Matthews. He extends his point streak to 14 games. 14 straight games Austin Matthews has contributed on the score sheet. He's absolutely unreal. Leads the NHL in goals right now. Hand this man the Rocket Richard Trophy right now. Hand it to him right now. As long as he stays healthy, Austin Matthews will win the Rocket Richard Trophy in 2021. Mark my words. Come back on this, whatever. He will win the Rocket if he stays healthy. He is on another level right now. He is out of this world. And when he plays the Ottawa Senators, he turns it up another notch. In just 19 games against the Senators, he's had 17 goals and 11 assists for 28 points. It's amazing what Austin Matthews can do, and we saw him do it again tonight against the Ottawa Senators, a team that he is always feasting on. Baseball 27 says power play got to pick it up again. I will get to that later. I've got a stat that is it's a very glaring stat. Very glaring stat. We should touch on that. We'll touch on it later in the show. ASC says sometimes a team just has your number and plays you tough every game, regardless of where you are in the standings. Good win and a sigh of relief. That's a good comment. That's a good comment, but it's very worrisome that the Ottawa Senators have 4 wins on the season, 2 of which have come against the Maple Leafs. But you're right, sometimes a team has your number. I love how the Maple Leafs responded, though. Let's talk NHL. Says this was a great performance from the Leafs. People will say it was only 2-1, but considering the Ottawa played well, we only let 1 in. We played great. You know who played great this game? Who deserves to be talked about because he was getting talked about. He was getting roasted after allowing 6 goals against the Ottawa Senators. You guessed it. Frederik Andersen. Everyone that was talking all this trash about Frederik Andersen, get him out of Toronto right now. We got to press the emergency button. We got to freak out. Where are you now? Frederik Andersen, 27 saves on 28 shots. He had a hell of a performance once again. Frederik Andersen is the backbone of this team, and we may see him again tomorrow night. Maybe. I'm not sure how confident Sheldon Keefe is in Michael Hutchinson. This is something that remains to be seen. We need to get Michael Hutchinson in this game tomorrow. If I was Sheldon Keefe, I would put Michael Hutchinson in. But I don't think that Sheldon Keefe actually has the confidence in Michael Hutchinson to pull that string and do it. So Baseball 27, spot on. Tavares had a really good game tonight. Let's talk about John Tavares because people have been talking about him as well. People have been ripping on him. He was all over the place tonight. 4 shots, 2 hits, and a block shot. He didn't get on the score sheet like you would expect him to, but he contributed in other ways. And John Tavares, his contributions as a leader, they go far beyond what you see on the score sheet. And for people that missed the game and are going to look back, they're going to say, oh, John Tavares, he didn't do anything. But that's not true. John Tavares had a hell of a game out there tonight. Hardworking guy, and he's a lead by example player. The team followed him, followed his footsteps into a victory over the Ottawa Senators tonight. Love seeing it. 4 shots, 2 hits, and a block shot. He was generating offensive opportunities, and I thought that his line looked really good with Zach Hyman and William Nylander. I thought they looked great tonight. Got some comments flying in here. 91 was really good tonight. He really was. He was a presence out there. Baseball 27 wanted Johnny to bury one so bad. He was so close so many times. He was close so many times. And Nevin says hopefully it comes tomorrow. I'm going to make a prediction that he does score tomorrow. I think that John Tavares will score in tomorrow night's game against the Ottawa Senators. He's going to follow up this great performance with another great performance, and he's going to finally contribute on the score sheet like everybody's been asking for. Everybody in the comment section has been saying we need to see John Tavares contribute, and you're right. But as I've said before, his contributions go far beyond what you see on the score sheet. Jake David, can you please explain how that was an interference call on Mitch Marner? And I can't. I cannot explain how that was an interference call on Mitch Marner. That should have been a penalty against Ottawa, if anything. But who am I, right? I'm not the referee. I really think that should not have been a penalty against the Leafs. Took away a power play from the Toronto Maple Leafs as well. Pep Simpson says Hyman and the T-Man score tomorrow. I like to see the prediction. Jill Jackson James says Tavares is great. John Tavares is great. He's our leader. We got to get behind this guy. Just trust in JT. Trust in Johnny Toronto. Our next game after the Ottawa Senators is Montreal at their place. But hope we win that game. Obviously, we want to win both games. And see, this is where the whole goalie thing comes into play. With Frederick Anderson, if you play him tomorrow night, that's a back-to-back he's playing. He has a night off, and then he goes straight to Montreal and plays again. I think tomorrow night you have to put Michael Hutchinson in. I'm not sure if they do, though. I'm really not sure if Sheldon Keefe is that confident in him. I think we should see Michael Hutchinson. It would be the smart thing to do, in my opinion. Because we need to be rested up for Saturday. We need to have Frederick Anderson rested up for Saturday night. I want to talk about some concerns, though, because there's definitely some concerns from this game. It was a better performance than what we saw the other night. But there is still some things we need to tweak, some big concerns. And for me, how about the lack of domination? The Toronto Maple Leafs were outshot 10-5 in the first period, and they came out slow. I was expecting this team to come out with a fire lit under them, which they did in the second period. But the first period, it wasn't pretty. They had a goal called back with 2.2 seconds left in the first period, and that was the one bright spot of the period. The Toronto Maple Leafs couldn't generate anything. They were turning the puck over nonstop. They had 8 turnovers in the first period alone, and they turned over the puck a lot. They had 16 turnovers tonight. But back to the lack of domination, that's a big concern against the Ottawa Senators. They've had our number, yeah, but you can't use that excuse against a bottom feeder team. The Vancouver Canucks, we dominated them. We really haven't dominated too much this season, though, and I feel as if when we get into the playoffs, if we make it out of Canada, we're going to be running into teams like Boston and Tampa Bay, and we may get dominated if we're not going to be dominating the rest of this North Division. We need to dominate, and we need to play consistent. I really thought our players, our guys, were going to come out in that first period and dominate all the way through this game. They dominated the second half, but really, the first period was soft, and I expected more from them. Nevin says, I think the Leafs at the start were being too careful considering what happened the last game. But that really didn't show. You can say that, but they had 8 turnovers in the first period. They were giving the puck away way too often. Austin Matthews has 67 goals in the last 100 games. Outstanding. He's just wow. Amazing player. Could end up being the greatest goal scorer of all time by the end of his career. I mean, his start, it doesn't really look like the trajectory is going that way. But if he continues what he's been doing this year and does that all the way through his career, then yes, he could be in that discussion. He will definitely be in the discussion as long as he remains a Toronto Maple Leaf as the greatest goal scorer in Toronto Maple Leafs history. Back to the concerns though. This is a huge concern. The Toronto Maple Leafs have scored on just 3 of 18 power plays in the month of February, and that's in the last 7 games. 3 goals on their last 18 power play attempts. This is a power play unit that we saw tied for first with the Dallas Stars 7 games ago. We were tied for first in the NHL, had the best power play in the league, and we've got so many elite goal scorers and playmakers that you would expect them to be a top power play unit in the NHL. But recently, they've really fallen off, and it's a major concern. Huge red flag. I'm very concerned by this stat. You go on the power play, you need to score. And we've done it just 3 times in the last 18 attempts. It's not good. I want to see some comments here. We have Jack Trout says, Sens got lucky on a lot of chances. ASC, that's a great comment. I was going to touch on that. I agree with this. Losing Simmons has really hurt their power play. He is such a valuable net front presence. He can do so many deflections. He's great with gathering rebounds. Really having Wayne Simmons on the power play is more valuable than I think anybody would have thought coming into this season. Wayne Simmons, the Wayne train on the power play, it's affected everything and the power play as well. It's a big loss, and I can't wait to get him back in 6 weeks. Nevin says, in my opinion, they should stack the top power play unit like we did last season. It would help Tavares and William Nylander as well. That could look good. We have so many different options of what we can do with our power play. There's so many players that can score and that can be great playmakers on this team. So really, there's so many options. But really, that loss of Wayne Simmons, going back to that hurts a lot. Dan says, don't we play again tomorrow? We play Ottawa again tomorrow night, and then we play Montreal Saturday night. Really looking forward to these next 2 games. If you guys want, you can throw in a score prediction for tomorrow night's game. I got 5-3 Toronto. I think that it's going to be a bit of a higher scoring game, and the Maple Leafs, they limit the Ottawa Senators' offensive production, and the Maple Leafs put up 5 goals. That's something you'd love to see. And you don't want to see another blown 5-1 lead, or Leafs Nation, this volcano might erupt if they blow another 5-1 lead. Just saying. We can't have that happen again. We have a bunch of comments coming in here. Baseball 27 says 5-1 Leafs. ... You had to do it. Had to do it. 6-2 Leafs from Jack Trout. 5-2 Leafs from Jason Brooks. 4-2 Leafs. 5-3. Wow. I'm going to guess a tight 3-2 game. Okay. Ron Keats says 4-2. 4-2 Leafs with a big goal from Tavares or Nylander. And yeah, I like that. I think that John Tavares will score a goal as well. I definitely think that he's going to contribute. Maybe a goal and an assist because he had 4 shots on goal tonight. He was all over the place, just really couldn't get on the score sheet. And there's only 2 goals scored tonight. Big shout out to Alex Kerfoot. Alex Kerfoot's a guy that a lot of people have been getting on, and he had a tough time really getting comfortable with his new team last season. But damn, Alex Kerfoot with the game-winning goal in the clutch. Alex Kerfoot, Kerfy, big goal. Love seeing that. Frank Rusty Nail says, "What does everyone think about the?" Frank says, "What does everyone think about Elliot Friedman's mystery winger? The Toronto Maple Leafs are interested in Michael Granlund from Nashville." Baseball 27 says, "Bobby Ryan, please." I don't know. We've just brought in Alex Galchenyuk. Let's talk about Alex Galchenyuk because the mystery winger thing, we'll find out later if they end up bringing him in. Let's talk about Alex Galchenyuk. Galchenyuk, he's actually going to be able to play tomorrow if he clears the protocols that are required. So Sheldon Keefe understands that Alex Galchenyuk is a player with potential, but he's been put in a lot of bad situations and hasn't gotten comfortable because he's been traded so frequently. He's gone to 7 different teams since being drafted. That's got to be tough. That's really tough. That's a lot of weight on your shoulders, and that's got to be tough. That's got to be tough to accept and swallow mentally. Like, that's a huge mental barrier, having to move all over the place consistently, really struggling to get comfortable. Like, think about this as a human being. You have a family and you got to move 7 times since 2012. That's tough. Alex Galchenyuk, I hope he finds a home here in Toronto. I hope he gets comfortable, and I hope he plays a big role in the Toronto Maple Leafs' success. I don't think his role will be too big, but I think he can actually fill a bottom 6 role on this team, and I think that he can compete for a spot with guys like Pierre Engvall, Travis Boyd. He'll compete for some playing time. That's what Alex Galchenyuk is going to do with his team, and who knows, maybe he gets traded again. We got comments coming in. Alex is a winger. Galchenyuk may be able to help the power play, and maybe he might be able to. It really, we got to see what he does. Baseball 27 says compete with VC. I agree with that. Jimmy VC. He's a guy that I was really high on coming into this season, but he's been invisible at times recently, and it's tough. But Jimmy VC needs to step it up. He needs to step up his performance, or he's going to be finding his way out of this lineup really quickly, especially with the trade for Alex Galchenyuk. When we get Wayne Simmons back, Nick Robertson's in the Marlies right now, so there's a lot of different possibilities. Dan, he's a Montreal fan, so keep that noted. He knows Galchenyuk better than a lot of people. He says more consistent than his game, I'll tell you. So yes, if he can be more consistent, Alex Galchenyuk, he can be a valuable piece. I don't think that he's going to be a top 6 guy. Bottom 6 guy at best. He's not the 30-goal scorer he once was. He scored 30 goals back in 2015 for the Montreal Canadiens, and since then, he's disappeared. He's been on 6 different teams since leaving Montreal. I mean, do you think you can name them? I'm pretty confident I can name them. Pittsburgh, Arizona, Carolina for a bit, Ottawa, uh, Minnesota, and now Toronto is the 6th team, I guess. He's been all over the place, and it's been really tough for Alex Galchenyuk. I hope he can add consistency to his game, and I hope he can get comfortable with the Toronto Maple Leafs, because this is a guy who can score goals. But his major problem has been just finding a home, finding a team to just play with consistently. And he's also been struggling to contribute on the score sheet. He's had just 9 goals in the last 2 years. And his other problem, he seems slower. He seems like a slower skater than he once was when he was with the Montreal Canadiens. I don't know why that is, but he could surprise us. It'll be interesting to see what Alex Galchenyuk brings to Toronto. But don't set your expectations too high, because his consistency has been a problem, and Dan has been touching on that in the comments section. Mark Williamson says, should take Pierre Engvall out. And did you guys see the stat on tonight's game about Pierre Engvall? The last 2 games he scored, they were embarrassing games. The David Ayres game, the Zamboni driver game, and the 5-1 blown lead. And speaking of embarrassing games, if you haven't already checked out the video I posted today, I feel as if you guys would like this. Go check out, after this game, go check out the most embarrassing Maple Leafs loss video I posted today. It counts down the top 5 most embarrassing Maple Leafs losses. It's a tough pill to swallow watching that, but I don't know. It's fun. It's fun to look back, and then it's not. I don't know. Frank Rusty Nails says, Galchenyuk on a line with Spezza. Spezza and Boyd will get him going. I like that. Putting him with Jason Spezza, the veteran, could help Alex Galchenyuk get going really. And Travis Boyd. These are 3 guys that can play center. I'd put Spezza at center, maybe Travis Boyd, but I'm not putting Alex Galchenyuk there. These are 3 players that can come in and do a face-off draw if needed, and these are players with high upside. I like that line. 3 guys that are, well, Boyd and Galchenyuk are fighting for playing time and a solidified role in this team. Jason Spezza's already got his role solidified, and Travis Boyd has had 8 points in 9 games played this season. I think he's been very impressive so far, and mixing Galchenyuk in with those 2, it could be a recipe for success. Mark Williamson believes he will surprise us all, and I would love that because, like I said, former 30-goal scorer, that's potential high upside. Nevin says, okay, so by that logic, Engvall is the reason for painful losses. Yeah, no, I saw that stat, and I thought it was kind of a pointless stat to post, but it is what it is. It's just a fluky stat. I don't think anyone should be cheering for Engvall not to score, because obviously goals usually help out your team. They usually help out your team win a game. But the last 2 games that Pierre Engvall has scored were the Zamboni driver game and the 5-1 blown lead. Mark Williamson, smash the like button, everybody. Thank you for reminding me, Mark. If you haven't already, please make sure you smash the like button. And if you're watching this on YouTube, hit that notification bell to be notified every time new content comes out from Maple Leafs Media. I'm posting stuff regularly. And if you're on Facebook, please share this video, smash the like button. It helps out the brand in a big way. I'm on here alone tonight, and I'm really open to taking whatever comments you guys have. Just drop your thoughts in the comment section. I'll get to as many as I can. I don't have too much to talk about tonight, but there's another player that, I mean, this guy's just been having a tough go. It's really unfortunate. Rasmus Sandin blocks a shot and it hits him in the foot. He's going to miss time. In the Marlies season opener, this is a guy, just keep this in mind. Rasmus Sandin has totaled exactly 5 minutes of ice time this season. In 2021, just 5 minutes of ice time in a game. And he's been hit in the face by a Pierre Engvall shot in practice. And then he goes to the Marlies and he plays. And in the season opener, he has a foot injury. That's tough. But you know what this goes to? If Rasmus Sandin can rebound from this goes to show how resilient this guy is. And you'd love to see resiliency, even more of it, added to the Toronto Maple Leafs roster. Rasmus Sandin, I believe that a lot of you would think that Rasmus Sandin has a high potential in the NHL. He was drafted in the first round by the Toronto Maple Leafs a couple of years back for a reason. This is a guy who he can live up to being like Erik Karlsson. He's a Swedish defenseman and he's offensive minded. He can join the rush. He can get back. He's an extremely great skater. And Rasmus Sandin, if he can come back from this, just considering everything he's been facing this season with trying to get playing time, getting hit in the face by a puck in practice, and then getting injured in the season opener in the AHL, that just goes to show this guy is resilient. And if he can come back from this, I don't know what else Sheldon Keefe needs to see to give Rasmus Sandin playing time. Baseball 27 says, where the boys at? I'm not sure tonight. They might be in bed or something. Leafs are winning tonight, and I'm here with everyone here. That's all that matters. We've got some other stuff to talk about. Baseball 27, you also want to know, when is Lenton going to come back in? And to me, I don't really see a glaring need to put Mikko Lenton back in. And I don't think Sheldon Keefe does either. Travis Dermott, I think that he's played exceptionally well with Zach Bogosian. These guys have got a little chemistry going. I was watching them very closely tonight. And they're starting to click together. And I just really think it's going to be harder and harder for Mikko Lenton to get playing time as long as Travis Dermott is performing. Lenton has been called out by Sheldon Keefe himself. Sheldon Keefe went as far to say that Mikko Lenton really doesn't look comfortable at the NHL level, except on the power play. Because Lenton's a power play specialist. He was a top 2 guy in the KHL, but the transition from the KHL to the NHL is a difficult, daunting task, and it's been difficult for him to overcome. We haven't seen Lenton really do much of anything. I think that Travis Dermott has been the better performer of the two, and you got to go with the hot hand right now. Travis Dermott, his play really declines, then yeah, you throw in Mikko Lenton. I don't really see the need for it right now, though. Just over 52% in the faceoff circle, which is 4th best in the NHL. Faceoffs are so important in the modern day NHL. It goes to show you get extra puck possession every time you win a faceoff. You could have defensive zone faceoffs, offensive zone faceoffs, even the neutral zone faceoffs. They're all so important for puck possession and really preventing or scoring goals. Nevin says the Malhotra effect. Manny Malhotra was such a good face-off guy at the NHL level back in his day. Comments are rolling in here. Riley is struggling right now. Too many pinches and getting caught, turnovers, etc. Have you noticed? And what's your take? I have noticed this. He had the past 2 games specifically, the past three 3 games. So tonight, the 2 games against Ottawa, and then the game against Montreal. He's been struggling those 3 games. He was looking better prior to this. I have him on my fantasy team, so I really love it when he blocks shots and he doesn't have a negative plus minus, which he did tonight. Morgan Riley, I think that he's a valuable defenseman. He's been the pillar of this team for years on the defense, on the blue line. I think he's going to bounce back. It's been tough for him out there recently, but just give him a couple games. I think that Morgan Riley will step up his performance, and I have noticed this as well. He's been pinching and getting caught, and that's also a testament to what I said earlier. In this season, you're having 2 offensive-minded defensemen together, Morgan Riley and TJ Brody. That's hard for these guys to click and key off of each other because both of them, when they get the puck, they're thinking, I want to join the rush, I want to pass this puck, create a play, or I want to score. So it's tough. Maybe you pair Morgan Riley with Jake Muzzin, who he's played with before, and you put Justin Hall with TJ Brody. But the only downside to that is you have to break up Justin Hall and Jake Muzzin, who have been the Maple Leafs' best defense pairing this season. So there's ups and downs that come with it. I think Morgan Riley, he's going to bounce back. He's going to bounce back. He's been so valuable for us for so many years. And he's a guy that really doesn't get talked enough about. He doesn't get talked about enough. So there's my little rant about Morgan Riley. Let's see what Frank Rusty Nails has to say. Riley is struggling. I think Brody is doing okay with Riley, but Riley isn't working with Brody. Unfortunately, Riley has played his best with Ron Hainsey. That's a great comment. Seriously, everybody, think about it. Ron Hainsey and Morgan Riley, that was what worked best for Morgan Riley. And it's really hard to build a chemistry with a new defense partner every season. Morgan Riley, he had a good thing with Jake Gardner for a bit. This TJ Brody thing, it can be promising, but it really hasn't appeared that way early on in the season. Maybe a bit more time, and then I'd really look into breaking that duo up because they pinch too much, and it's hard to key off of each other when you want to join up on the rush. Nevin said Brody worked well with Giordano for years. I'm sure he and Riley will click soon enough. Riley and Gio are similar players. It's a bit different, though. When I think of a successful defense pairing, I've said this a number of times. The defense pairing I think of is Scott Niedermayer and Chris Pronger with the Anaheim Ducks. You remember how that went? They won a Stanley Cup together. You had a stay-at-home guy, a big body guy who will knock people. He'll knock people on their butt. Chris Pronger was an animal. And then you add Scott Niedermayer. He'll join the rush. He'll do whatever. I loved that defense pairing, and I would love to see the Toronto Maple Leafs implement something similar to that into their lineup. Baseball 27, do you think they'll trade Lettinen or try to keep developing him into the NHL game? I don't see a trade market really big for Mikko Lettinen, and it'd kind of be a waste to trade him away. I think they'll ultimately end up trying to develop him to the NHL, and if it doesn't work out, I'm sure there's a spot for him in the KHL or on another NHL roster in this offseason. But I don't think you just trade Mikko Lettinen to trade him away. Our defensive depth is one of our strengths, and you don't want to offload a guy like Mikko Lettinen, even if he's not getting the playing time you'd like him to get. Follows it up with, how about Hall with insane fake shot pass to Matthews for the goal tonight? That was a heck of a play, and in overtime the other night, it was missed. There's a missed play. Austin Matthews was open at the side of the net. Morgan Riley could have hit him. And they talked about that at practice. Clearly. Justin Hall fakes the shot, passes it straight to Austin Matthews rather. And Justin Hall, he's been contributing a lot. The block shots, the hits. He's at a goal, and he's getting a lot of assists on Austin Matthews' goals. Justin Hall, so valuable to this team. And that was a great play. Frank Rusty Nails says, you hit it right on, Jake. Riley needs a Chris Pronger type of defense partner. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Exactly. Thank you. We've got, why do you think we're struggling with the likes of Ottawa and Montreal? Is it the physicality? It could be the physicality. Go back to a couple shows ago, a couple post-game shows ago when it was just me and Rib, and we were talking about the Montreal Canadiens beating the Toronto Maple Leafs 2-1. I went on a massive rant about how we were out-hit that game 46-16. Physicality, it's definitely playing a factor, but I think this is also the rivalries and the other teams having that extra motivation to come out with that fire lit under them because they want to beat the Toronto Maple Leafs, who are the top team in the North Division. These are massive rivalries. Ottawa, it's probably bigger for Ottawa fans than it is for Toronto fans. The Battle of Ontario, it's right there. And then Toronto, Montreal, biggest rivalry in the sport. You're going to get heated matchups every single time these two teams play. So the physicality definitely plays a part in it. But when you are the top of the division, you have a target on your head. And the Toronto Maple Leafs, they need to live up to the top seed in the North Division. They need to play up to it every game. They need to come out ready to see the best of their opponents night in and night out. I think Hall is trying to grow his hair like Yager. You know what? Justin Hall's flow, I like the flow he's got going. I love how we've got a bunch of players growing out the hair. I like it. Tavares, Marner's growing it out. Matthews, Nylander. I like the long hair. I used to have long hair myself, but I like growing it out if I'm a hockey player. Anthony says, "Go Leafs, go! All they have to do is play with really good defense, keep their heads up, and play the game right, and score goals so the Leafs can win games, pass the puck to each other, and play like a team with each other. All they need to do is focus every game possible." That's a lot. Yes, if you can play sound defensively, the Toronto Maple Leafs will win more games. We already know what this Maple Leafs team is capable of doing when it comes to scoring. We have so many great scorers, Matthews and Nylander, just to name two of them, because I'm going to name elite playmakers in William Nylander and Mitch Marner. We have so many great offensive pieces that if we just can play solid defense, this team is going to go a long way. And I know that I was very down on this team after the 5-1 blown lead. But let's be honest, who wasn't? It was tough. It was a tough pill to swallow. But my love for the Maple Leafs isn't going anywhere. I love this team unconditionally. And on that note, if you haven't already, please show your support for the Maple Leafs media brand. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell up there if you're on YouTube. That way you will be notified every time new content is coming out on this channel. And if you're on Facebook, tell a friend to tell a friend. Share this video, whether it's on your personal page, in a Maple Leafs group, a hockey group, wherever. It all helps out the brand in a big way. Love talking about the Maple Leafs with Maple Leafs fans. I'm just a Maple Leafs fan coming on here talking about the Maple Leafs with other Maple Leafs fans. It's very fun to engage with all you. Anthony, we just want to win the Stanley Cup because it's been since 1967. We've been waiting for this all of our lives. We will raise that Stanley Cup in 2021. Anthony, I love your attitude. I love your attitude, but we need to see more consistency from this team. If I'm being honest, we need to see this team dominate some games in this division and be more consistent because these inconsistencies are catching up to us. And we saw it the other night, that 5-1 blown lead. Frank Rusty Nails says, I think the Leafs still need one or two grit type players. If Simmons goes down again in the playoffs, then back to square one. We're left without any grit in the playoffs. That's a good point. If Wayne Simmons does go back down, we're back to square one, what we were with last year. I mean, the gritty player, I would like to have another gritty player on this team. Zach Bogosian, I expected him to bring a bit more grit, but he doesn't play that much. So it's not a very big impact with grit. The Maple Leafs are a speedy team, and if they could add another gritty player, that would go a long way. Maybe a guy on that third or fourth line, because I don't see a guy available on the first or second line that's bringing a lot of grit. It's a very small market for grit because big teams, they're frequently successful, like the Tampa Bay Lightning last year and the Washington Capitals as well, back a couple years back. Bigger teams in the NHL right now are successful. If this was just, hey, you can pick a player to bring onto this team, and I think you might agree with this, Rusty Nails. You love them if you're playing on a team with them. You hate them if you're playing against them. Tom Wilson. I would love to have Tom Wilson on the Toronto Maple Leafs. If I could pick a player in the league to bring onto the Maple Leafs, not named Connor McDavid, Nathan McKinnon, or Sidney Crosby, it would be Tom Wilson. He brings so much grit. He can score goals, and he's so valuable for my fantasy team. I would bring Tom Wilson onto this team if I could. He is just a special type of player, gritty. He's a big net front presence, and he can score goals. There's nothing Tom Wilson can't do, and that's the type of player I'd bring on here. Baseball 27 says, thought you were going to say Brad Marchand. No, I don't want, especially in a pandemic, I don't want a player that's going to lick other guys. I don't want that. I don't want a player who's going to go around licking the opponents when there's a pandemic going on. No, thank you. Off topic, I really love Joe being on this team as we head towards March and April. Go Leafs, go. And you know what? That's not off topic because it's about the Toronto Maple Leafs, and we'll talk whatever you want about the Toronto Maple Leafs on this channel. Jumbo Joe Thornton, I've loved this addition from the second that we made it. He's getting paid the league minimum, and he's slotting into the first line left wing spot beside Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner. And I don't think anyone really expected this, but that chemistry, it's looking dynamic. He had 2 goals called back tonight, which is unfortunate, but he's trying out there. He's definitely slower. He's definitely slower than Marner and Austin Matthews, and it shows at times. But he doesn't need to be that speed because of what he can do with the puck on his stick. He just he dishes passes out to Marner and Matthews and sets them up. He can be a net front presence. Jumbo Joe is so valuable, and he brings that smile to the locker room. He wants to win a Stanley Cup, and not only does he want to win a Stanley Cup, but I believe that his teammates want to win a Stanley Cup for him, for Wayne Simmons, for Jason Spezza, and for all these veterans who have never gotten to that Stanley Cup. This team, it has a different togetherness feel about it, and that 5-1 blown lead, I got to go back to it. It's something we'll be talking about for a long time. I think that was simply the Toronto Maple Leafs getting ahead of themselves, and you cannot do that. You can't do that. There's no excuse for it. But the Toronto Maple Leafs jumped the gun. They thought they had the game sealed. They can't do that, obviously. But I'm just saying that there's bigger concerns. It's obvious. It sucks. It sucks. But the Maple Leafs jumped the gun the other night, and that was bad Maple Leafs more than it was good Ottawa Senators. We've seen the Toronto Maple Leafs be a good team We just need to be more consistent. Nevin says the fact that Joe could have gone to any other cup competing team but chose the Leafs shows how close we truly are. And that also goes to show Patrick Marleau. Patrick Marleau said, hey, you should play with Mitch Marner and Austin Matthews. These guys are exceptional. They're very likable players, Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner. And everyone around the league, they talk, especially if you were on a team together, as long as Patrick Marleau and Joe Thornton. And I'm sure Joe Thornton's thanking Patrick Marleau for the recommendation right now. First line, Joe Thornton was told what he was brought into Toronto to do, and he kept it a secret. He kept it a secret. Everyone thought that Joe Thornton was going to be fourth line center for the Leafs, but he's up there on the first line, and I love that. He played really well tonight, and the effort he put in was just awesome. It was awesome. He's still doing it at 41 years old, and he really looked good in Switzerland. This guy was playing in Switzerland this offseason at 41 years old. It's a beautiful place. Davos is beautiful. But come on. How many other players were playing in the offseason to prepare for the NHL season during a pandemic? There's not very many. Jumbo Joe wants to win, and he wants to win in Toronto. In Ontario, where he's from. Another hometown guy. Let's go. Applause. Applause for Joe Thornton. Jumbo Joe. Jason Brooks says Jack Campbell is close to returning, which is good news for the Maple Leafs. I'm going to take it up a step, Jason. That's great news for the Toronto Maple Leafs because I really don't know how much Sheldon Keefe believes in Michael Hutchinson. Our fan base doesn't necessarily believe in Michael Hutchinson either, I don't think. We may need to see Michael Hutchinson play tomorrow, though. And that, if he doesn't start tomorrow, that's going to go to show not only how little trust Sheldon Keefe has in Michael Hutchinson, but that also goes to show how much trust he has in Jack Campbell. He's giving Jack Campbell playing time before he got injured. It's unfortunate he did get injured, but I expect Jack Campbell to be a valuable backup for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and we need to give Frederik Andersen more rest come playoff time. For the playoffs, Frederik Andersen needs to be rested. He played the third most minutes of any NHL goalie last year behind only Carey Price and Connor Hellebuck, and none of those goalies went too far in the playoffs because they're exhausted. They're exhausted and they're facing way too many shots. Arrested Frederik Andersen is part of the recipe for success for the Toronto Maple Leafs in the playoffs. Let's do a Nylander, Dermott, and Engvall trade for Colton Parayko. What do you think? Don't know exactly what Parayko's contract's like. Honestly, don't really know if that's enough to get him either. You're trading away Nylander, but no other team values him like the Toronto Maple Leafs value him. Travis Dermott's got a year left on his contract, same as Pierre Engvall, and Pierre Engvall doesn't really have much trade value. I don't really think the St. Louis Blues would do this. I'm not sure if I would either, because William Nylander, he's been looking good out there, just not contributing on the score sheet, and he's got a bargain contract, the best contract of the core four. Baseball 27, I can't say the word. Hutchinson will have a goose egg tomorrow. I mean, that would just imagine the outpour on social media if Michael Hutchinson does that tomorrow. That would be I'd love to see that, just not only for the Maple Leafs victory, but also just to see everyone's reaction. And if he does that, we should send him an apology card, a virtual apology card, or send it to him in the mail, whatever, because That would just be awesome. Frank says, I think Anderson does play tomorrow with Jack Campbell coming back. Campbell will start playing games more and give Frederick Anderson some more rest. That would be, I really think that we need to give him a rest day tomorrow. But Jack Campbell coming back will be massive and will help the Maple Leafs go a long way in the playoffs. If you get Frederick Anderson rested for the playoffs, this team's set. That is a huge glaring need. We need to give Frederick Anderson rest. William Bennett says Freddie is 28th in the league for save percentage and 25th in the league for goals against average. Goals against average, 25th in the league, is the 25th lowest. I'd have to check the stat, but Frederick Anderson, he's been very valuable for this team, and he's been the backbone of the team for the Toronto Maple Leafs for so many years now. Baseball 27, we should be able to beat the Sens with Freddie or Hutchinson. There's no excuses, and I agree with that. We should be able to beat him with David Ayers in net. We should be able to beat the Senators with a Zamboni driver in the net. Call me crazy, but we should be dominating the Ottawa Senators, who have just 4 wins this season, 2 of which have come against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Then let's see how we really respond in that situation. Not that it's going to happen. Those Freddie stats were before this game. Yeah, Frederick Anderson had a hell of a game tonight. 27 saves on 28 shots. And he's stolen points for this team on multiple occasions this year. He stole a point with that huge overtime save in that game where Connor McDavid had that amazing end-to-end goal. And he also stole a victory against Vancouver. Frederick Anderson has done a lot of great things for this Toronto Maple Leafs team, and we need to appreciate Frederick Anderson. Because imagine if Frederick Anderson was injured right now. Even if we had Jack Campbell. Jack Campbell, he has been a backup for his entire career at the NHL level. Do you think that is reliable? I'm not sure it is. It may be. And Jack Campbell may surprise people in that situation. But Frederick Anderson is our go-to guy. And he's our starter for a reason. He is the rock back there. And he is the backbone of this Maple Leafs team. Don't get it wrong. Don't mistake it. We need Freddie for success. And one more time before I get out of here. I've been on here for 53 minutes. If you haven't already, please smash that like button. Hit the notification bell up there if you're on YouTube. And if you're on Facebook, share this video. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Helps out Maple Leafs media in a big way. The brand's growing. And I'm your guy, Jake. I'm on here on a daily basis almost. I'm posting stuff daily. I'll be back here tomorrow night with the Ottawa Senators Toronto Maple Leafs post-game show again. And hopefully there's no blown 5-1 leads. Hopefully not. A hockey kid, rib tattoo, says they will re-sign Freddie. That's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to do, and we'll see if they end up doing it. In my opinion, these are the top 7 contracts for the Leafs. Morgan Riley, Nylander, Hyman, Matthews, Marner, Dermott. You know what? I'll come up with a list for this, William. I have to actually look into the contracts more and think about them more before I go on record saying the best 7. So I can make a video about this if you'd like. The best contracts on the Toronto Maple Leafs. I will do that. I'll make a video about the best contracts on the Toronto Maple Leafs. That's a great video idea. And that's the thing. I'm always open to taking anyone's recommendations for videos. Any content you want to see, let me know. You can message me at Maple Leafs Media on Instagram or Facebook. You can comment it on any one of my videos. I will gladly take your suggestions, and I will do what I can to pump out content that you would like to see. Every day, I'm grinding to make Maple Leafs Media better and more enjoyable for you. I really enjoyed doing this. I love coming on here, and I love talking Maple Leafs with other Maple Leafs fans. It's great to see how big this fan base is and how it's worldwide. We have viewers in Italy, we have viewers in Australia, and all around Canada and the United States. It's amazing to see, and I'm very thankful that I get to come on here every night with you guys. I'll be back here tomorrow night. Toronto Maple Leafs, Ottawa Senators post-game show once more. And until then, stay safe. Stay safe in this crazy world. I'm your guy, Jake, and until next time.